And we're live. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? We're back on Tuesday with our first stream of May. May 1st. Happy May Day, everyone. May Day's a bad thing on a plane, but it's a good day for us because it's on a Tuesday, and that's when tech streams begin. When we're starting with over 20 people in the chat already. Wow. Jonathan has likes tech, Pinecone Bleach, Gabe Smith, Tech Out, Ali, Running Man. How's everyone doing? How is everyone doing? Oh, I'm listening to myself on my phone. The lag on that, not bad at all. Goodness. How warm was it where you live? Orville, Chico area. It's kind of warm. It's still pretty nice today. I went for a walk. It went nice. Do you think that the Pixel book will be discontinued? A topic I'll enjoy. Not discontinued for a while if you consider the fact that Google kept selling the Pixel C up until just a couple months ago, and no one was buying that. So, yeah, I mean, probably not at least for another year. I mean, they discontinued the original Pixel, and that wasn't very old in the first place. But no, they won't discontinue it very quickly. But that does not by any means mean it's selling. Say my name, Braylon. Hello. Will Google change the name of Pixel line kind of like Nexus? It feels like it. You know, I wish they could just stick with a new hardware brand and run with it and just keep running with it. But by the looks of it, they're working on this new experimental OS that will not be open source like Android is, and it'll be in-house designed like iOS is, called Fuchsia. And it sounds more like they're just going to redesign everything to adapt towards that again and then ditch Pixel. So I don't know. I don't know where this is going. But they have a history of showing they don't really know what they're doing. They just kind of wildly guess on stuff all the time. Do you think Apple will make over-ear headphones? Yeah, I hope we don't forget about that, because I made a video about that a while ago because there were some rumors that they were doing that. But yeah, I still want that to happen. It'd be kind of cool to see what kind of audio quality we could get out of that. The big news today, for those not on Twitter, is that Apple's Q2 earnings came out, and they did really, really good. They did the best they've ever done, in fact. So all those videos you 10 is dead, then basically any other smartphone you can imagine is a zombie. You know, like super dead, and somehow still walking around, because iPhone 10 was still the most popular iPhone every week of its release. And iPhone sales made up for half of all Apple's revenue, which was the most amount of money they've ever made in this Q2. So yeah, they're doing great. Anyway, lost my AirPods, never getting them again because they're just too easy to lose. I'm sorry. Yeah, it sucks that you lose them. I've never had that problem, but I mean, just, yeah, keep an eye on them. I've heard of people losing them too. That's a sucky thing. But yeah, I'm sorry when that happens. I mean, I feel like I lost wired earpods just as much too. I mean, is that how you remember them? Is the annoying cable? I mean, if that works for you, then great. But yes, I did see the rumors that Apple will not include an adapter in this year's iPhone. I mean, like, if you're 3 years into the no headphone jack trend, which kind of I mean, I know the iPhone 7 was not the first iPhone to remove the headphone jack. I'm aware of that. But still, in the first place, like, we've kind of gotten adapted to that now. Like iPhone 7, no headphone jack. People still bought into it, and it was a very popular iPhone, but it's still, you know, it didn't affect sales to not have a headphone jack. Now the 8 and the 10 don't have one, and now this year, 3 years in, it doesn't have an adapter. I think it's okay. I don't think it's going to change anyone's mind. It's kind of like, I mean, if you wanted another dongle and you don't have one yet, it's like, darn, we lost it. Okay, but I mean, like, is that going to change anyone's mind? Is anyone's like, I want to get an iPhone 10 Plus, but there won't be a dongle? Well, never mind then. Screw it. I don't want an iPhone now because I need that dongle. Dang it. Anyway, iMusic, everyone, is the first super chatter of the day. Shout out goes to iMusic. Thank you very much. It says dual smart connector on iPad instead of Lightning. Dual smart connector. Are you talking like on either side? That'd be interesting. See, I got my iPad right here. Let's see. On this side too? That'd be kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know why you're not putting on two keyboards. There is that Logitech charge stand. It doesn't sound too intuitive of a design, but it's it's kind of portless charging, but not really because these are still technically ports. But Logitech came out with this charge stand that basically looks kind of like an iMac, stand, like an aluminum one, and it has a smart connector on the bottom of it, and you dock your iPad into it via the smart connector, and it just starts charging the iPad. The reviews for it were mixed. People saying that it charges slowly or that it doesn't charge it at all. It's also $99, which is pretty pricey for a stand. But I guess like if you had a dual smart connector, you could go either way. But I don't think this is meant really to charge very quickly. This is mostly for just like quick power and quick data. And that's probably why they wouldn't ditch Lightning. I mean, they haven't even ditched the headphone jack on the iPads yet. So I feel like iPads are further away from being completely portless than iPhones are. iPhones are getting closer. Only one port left. Next super chat's from Diego Arana. Thank you very much. No comment by the looks of it, but thank you. I appreciate the support. Let's see. Do you think that Apple would put the 120 hertz display on the IPS iPhone this year? Well, if they're going to have OLED, that's not really possible. As of right now, when you do OLED, you can't do 120 hertz. But if we're talking about the LCD model, they probably wouldn't want it to have an unfair advantage against the OLED model. So I'm going to also say, even on the LCD budget one, it probably won't have 120 hertz anyway. I think the primary attraction to putting 120 hertz on the iPad Pro was that it improved the performance of the Apple Pencil so that there was even less latency. But there's no Apple Pencil support on the iPhone. So, I don't really see what the advantage there would be other than like it's a gaming phone now. But I mean, like even Razer doesn't, the phone's not default 120, it's default 90, and then you have to turn on 120 intentionally. So Apple likely won't do that. I'm just going to guess there and assume I'm probably right. Since Apple has made AirPods that are easy to lose, they should make over-ear wireless headphones. Oh yes, that could connect to topics we've already discussed. Yeah. Like if you think that AirPods are too easy to lose, maybe over-ears aren't as hard to lose, so maybe more people will be into that. The only reason you should wait to buy AirPods, not everyone should. I think some people have no need to, but if you might want to wait for new AirPods if you have an Apple Watch Series 3 and an iPhone 10 or 8, because those are the only other devices that will make AirPower worth it. The only reason to buy into AirPower, which by the way is going to be like a $200 charger, it's going to be nice, but the only reason to get it is that it can charge your watch, AirPods, and phone. All three of those things. So if you're out there, you're rocking an iPhone 7 or you're rocking an Apple Watch Series 1, Series 0, or Series 2, then you don't need to wait for AirPower. It's not going to matter because it's only, you don't want to buy a $200 charge mat that charges your headphones. That's pointless. So you don't need to save for AirPower unless you have an 8 or 10 and a Series 3, which I think narrows down the demographic a little bit. If you do have those two things, if you have an iPhone 8 or 10 and a Series 3, you might play with Apple Music. I can imagine that taking kind of a toll on the battery life, though, because typically if you like add cellular to something, the battery life gets like cut in half or so. So, yeah, I mean, like, I see all the hashtag wear power. I'm glad we're getting that trending, but I again, like, I don't know. Some people act like I'm Apple customer support, and they're like, "Ah, my thing's broken, fix it." And I'm like, I don't know. Like when you have cellular on an Apple Watch, it's very noticeable that I was just using it today when I went on my walk. I left my phone here. I was noticing that like battery life drops a lot quicker because it's not relying on Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. It's going through cellular, which uses more power. So doing that to AirPods, I'd be curious to see how that affects it. They might drop down to like, I mean, what are they now? Individually, the pods are like 5 hours each, right? And then in the case, they're 24. But like in your ears and with cellular, wouldn't that be like 3 hours, 4 hours? I don't know. It probably wouldn't be good. So maybe that's why Apple's not considering it. Or you just make the stems on them like even longer. They just keep going. Just add wires. Hey, Tailosive, this is a random question. What is the quickest way to know whether a file is 32-bit or 64-bit? That is a random question. I don't know the answer to it. Someone in the chat could probably answer you. I'll give you who power. I'll give you one too. Why power? Exactly. Why power anything? What color iPhone would you like to see? A blue one. I think those are like the primary colors. You know, they're given into the red, the product red iPhone. So like, why not give into blue as well? I am 14. Do you think I can get a job to buy a new iPhone? When did you get your first job? I started working at a very young age, like mowing lawns around Oroville, just trying to like rake in an income so that I could afford stuff. I wasn't that old. I was like 11 or 12. It wasn't like a official job like a McDonald's, corporate run paycheck. It was like freelance work basically. I used to film a lot of people's weddings and do like commercials for different businesses and organizations. I would film their events and stuff. So yeah, ever since I like wanted to buy products, I always was like, okay, how do I raise my income high enough so that I can afford this product I want? So it was never like, let me save a penny every time I find one on the street. It's always like, how am I going to afford this very quickly? Like, how am I going to change my income so that I can afford this? And I still live like that today. So yeah, at 14, you're plenty old enough to start like working at some type of job. It doesn't have to be like an actual official one where you have to fill out the paperwork and stuff, but just doing work for people, yard work I was good at. We got a super chat from Anonymous who says the new Mac Pro has an AMD. Wait, are you talking Mac Pro or iMac Pro? AMD Vega 12 GPU and dual band Wi-Fi and updated MacBook Pro is coming this year. No Mac Mini coming in 2019. Great. There's not even a question in that. It's just a nice super chat. Thank you very much. I have nothing to answer. He's just filling us in on the details, the detailosives. Let's see. I heard that Sprint and T-Mobile are going to merge, and I have Sprint. Is my iPhone for a Sprint going to work with T-Mobile? Yeah, I'm not really sure how that's going to work out. I read about that. I didn't make a video on it because I really don't know what to say. I'd have to do a bit more research on it about what this means. But yeah, I saw that merger. I mean, I think it's kind of ironic because like originally there was one phone company and then it got accused of like monopolistic practices. So the US government broke them up and that's what turned into like AT&T and Verizon and all those different phone companies. And now they're starting to merge together again. It's like, well, what's the point? I don't know. But yeah, I don't like out here in the foothills in the Chico Oroville area, you kind of have to either have Verizon or AT&T because the carriers are the T-Mobile and Sprint are so dead out here that it doesn't make, it doesn't make sense to go with the smaller carriers just because there's so many people who live in the foothills like I do and you don't get good coverage. So it doesn't really affect me because I have Verizon and I've always had Verizon because that's the only carrier that supports our areas up here. But it makes sense that Sprint and T-Mobile would combine their coverage because both of them have kind of not so good coverage, at least in relation to AT&T and Verizon, so that when you combine their coverages, obviously they double up on the number of areas they support. So, I mean, it helps. It's good for both of them, I suppose. I think it's good for consumers. If you could, would you want to work for Apple? I feel like I already do. It's just Google's paying me, ironically. But yeah, I don't know what I would do for them. I don't like. I want to do what I'm doing right now with tech journalism. That's about it. I mean, if they wanted to like put a special TV show that I direct and write on Apple Music exclusively, that's what I would like to do. When will people realize it doesn't matter how much comparison video there is? At the end of the day, people are going to spend their money and buy what they want. Well, yeah, but you don't need a tech channel if that's your mindset. I mean, it doesn't matter how many comparisons there are. No, people are going to buy what they want, but that was never on the line. We don't make tech videos to decide what you're going to spend your money on. We can only persuade you. You guys make that choice yourself. Like, because I get that comment a lot, and people basically just looking at. And if I win this debate, then you have to buy this. No, you can listen to my opinion and say Drew's stupid and then not buy it, or you can listen to someone else say their opinion's correct. I'm going to buy their phone. So, I mean, this is really just persuasions and talking about why we believe what we believe. It's just like you click on these videos because you're curious of my opinion and you're looking for advice. If you're clicking on these videos and saying this discussion doesn't matter because people are going to buy what they want anyway, it's like, why are you here? What are you watching this for? Because of the rumor of the hovering over screen technology. Oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, that's not even new technology. Samsung was doing that with the Galaxy S4. Like, the idea that you could hover your finger over the screen and it could see it before you tap the screen. That's not old. That's not like new tech. And I don't think that's like the opposite of 3D touch. 3D touch is like you're pressing on the screen and pushing harder. And that's like you're not touching the screen yet. What's the advantage of that? What features can be added if the screen knows where your finger is before it touches the screen? Because obviously, I mean, like gesture control maybe, but like very generic gestures, because you don't want a phone that acts before you actually touch the screen. That would be less intuitive. So I don't know why people get hyped up about that. I don't think that's going anywhere. Let's see. Yeah, I don't, guys. I know a lot of people are like, no, they're not removing 3D touch. It's just a rumor. It's very unlikely that it's actually going to happen. I use it a lot too. I don't think it's going away. I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear enough in my video. I personally don't think they're going to remove it, but I could see some scenarios in which the budget model perhaps has a toned down version of 3D touch, maybe not the primary ones. The regular 10 and the 10 Plus, I think they're going to keep it. I think it'd be quite stupid for them to remove it and just say like, we don't do that anymore. Matthew C. super chatted. He says, if Google made Pixel 3 with wireless charging and fixed the screen, would you consider it? I have a regular Pixel XL and I enjoy it. Got Android 8.1 and very fast, much more smoother than a Galaxy. They have to make it a good overall deal, and on top of that, it has to compete better with their competitor, with the other Android phones on the market. Because my big complaint with Android right now is that no matter what phone you buy, it's a compromise. So what I mean by that is, like, you can go with a Galaxy S9, that's cheaper than a Pixel 2 XL. You're getting a larger display, you're getting less bezels, you're getting wireless charging, you're getting more unlocking methods, but you don't get stock Android. So you get this like ugly Samsung skin that's not as enjoyable. So when that happens, it's like, well, I got all these features at a decent price, but if I paid a little bit more, I could get the stock Android experience, but then I lose out on, not that I care, but you lose out on the headphone jack, you lose out on wireless charging, you lose out on the Snapdragon 845, you lose out on the dual camera, which the Google praised DxOMark says is better than the Pixel. So I feel like no matter what Android phone you get, you compromise on something. So with the Pixel 3, even if they gained wireless charging, they're going to. I'll be shocked if they skip wireless charging again. They'll hopefully fix the screen a bit more than they did with the 2. I know the OS on is great. That's all anyone could say is the OS and the camera is the reason it's worth it. But and I agree that it's much more smoother and it's going to be getting the latest Android support. But you're missing out on all these other features, and that's kind of, I think, going to be my problem with the Pixel 3. Isn't necessarily the phone when it comes out. It's that it's the same price, if not a little bit more expensive than phones that are equivalent to it that came out months ago. And then within a couple of months, there's going to be a new Android phone that tops the Pixel 3 in every way. And then it won't be worth it anymore. Like, I don't know. It's just the problem with the Pixel lineup is that there's too many third parties competing with it that are doing a better job, especially when it comes to hardware. I think the only reason the Pixel is selling and the only reason people like it is because of the bokeh effect that Google built into the software, which is an exclusive, and the fact that it gets software directly supported from Google. The other companies just don't get that because Google now has a competitor in that field. So they don't have better hardware. They just have better software support. Whereas Apple, in that debate, is like, okay, the CPU is faster than any Android phone. Okay, we got the A11 Bionic chip it's just faster than everyone else. It smokes everyone else, especially with standby battery life. And then you know that that's the best one on any iPhone, and you actually know that that's better than most Snapdragon chips. Whereas you buy a Pixel 3, it's going to have the Snapdragon 845. S9's had that since March. So whatever you buy, you're going to be buying something that has a problem with it. Anyway, iHunter super chatted. Thank you very much. Shout out to iHunter. Don't see a comment, but then we got another super chat from Brondo, who says, butterfly keys on the MacBook Pro, in my opinion, feel bad. Recently acquired an iMac Pro and the keys feel perfect compared to my MacBook. Do you think the next MacBook Pro should get these keys instead? More movement. Well, I think there's a reason they adopted the butterfly keys on the MacBook, and it was because they were trying to make it thinner. They wanted the keyboard to take up less width when they were making the MacBook as thin as possible. There's still that section of Apple that's worried about how thin things are. So that's likely why they won't adopt this iMac Pro style keyboard, which I know what you're saying. Like, they definitely have a bit more travel. I personally like the butterfly keys. I grew up on a touchscreen. I grew up typing on things like this, so I'm just used to things not like going down. I'm used to no travel. And I think the next generation will get used to it as well. But I also understand people in the chat who are used to keys going down and stuff. But I think while you may want the next MacBook to adopt the keys with more travel, they can't, because they have to focus on retaining that design. And if they switched to these type of keys, they couldn't make things as thin. They would have to compromise on other things like battery life, in the CPU, in the internals and stuff like that. It's not simply just like a different color. It's not like butterfly keys or iMac Pro keyboard. It's like they literally made the butterfly keys so that they could get keys thin enough to fit in that MacBook, and that's why they did that. So, but they're definitely experiencing a lot of problems with that. A lot of people with butterfly keys have had sticky keys. A lot of bloggers have had complaints about that. I personally think that Apple might need to start considering a recall with the amount of people that are experiencing issues with their MacBook Pro keyboards. That doesn't sound like such a bad idea right now if so many people are having a problem with it. So they're going to have to perfect those butterfly keys a lot more. They definitely are running into issues right now, but yeah, I think that they could recall those, fix them up, or hopefully with the next gen MacBooks coming in at Worldwide Developers Conference, they can try to perfect those and make them a little better. Do you think Apple would put 500 gigabytes in iPhones? I have the 500 gigabyte iPad, the half terabyte one, as I call it, and it was really, really hard to fill this up. In fact, I'm still not anywhere close to filling this up, and I think Apple might consider that a little overkill, especially given the 10 and the 10 Plus are already. They think the problem with a lot of people not upgrading is simply the price point. There's just not enough people who can justify $1,000. With the 10 Plus rumored to cost even more than that, they're probably not going to try to mess around with 512 gigs, because that would, of course, drive the price even higher. And that's also not something that a lot of people would fill up. I think a lot of people don't even fill up 256. Apple considers a quarter terabyte fill like overkill. And they probably would just rather you invest more in iCloud storage than they would just. I don't think we're going to be like 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte. That's going to be coming up. But yeah, so we got some more super chats to get into here. Angus says, will Apple ever consider that a lot of the products are way overpriced? Oh, good. A related comment. Like the accessories they sell in their main products, it gets worse yearly. I think it works. I think they know what they're doing. And I think they're like, let's make our accessories reliable and work rather than, you're not the first person to think Apple's overpriced. They've been dealing with that complaint since the 80s. And they are still the most valuable company in the world. So I think Apple's in a mindset where they're like, okay, well, statistically and historically, we're better off making the product perfected in the way we want it to be and charging more than the competition. Apple's never been about being affordable. That's never entered their mind, is like, let's figure out how to make the most affordable product, unless you want to talk about the 2018 iPad. But personally, I'm not really a fan of that. Apple's priority seems to always be on let's be the best. So I think that's what they're worried about, not their overpriced accessories, which I agree. They're very overpriced. that cost a lot. There's a lot of Apple accessories I don't buy, like the smart keyboard for the iPad. I never buy that. Like the Apple Book, the Folio case, $100 for a leather iPhone case. It's stupid. Their adapters can be brutal. Like you could 87-watt charge brick, $80. It's like, dang, it hurts. But I think they know what they're doing. And I think there's some logic behind that they're like, no, it works. We know what we're doing. Anyway, next super chat's from Finn, who says, new iPad mini. I think that'd be cool, but I'd also be okay with that not happening. You know, the more I was thinking about it, I was thinking about this earlier today. Like, why doesn't Apple make the budget iPads the iPad mini? Wouldn't it be cheaper to manufacture iPads that, you know, like they don't have the laminated display, okay, and they don't have stereo speakers. But if the build quality only had to be 7.9 inches large, wouldn't that be cheaper? Because when the mini first dropped, it was cheaper as well. And for students and stuff, will they care that it's not a 9.7 inch, but it's a 7.9? Like, why can't the budget school iPads be the mini? Why have the minis been neglected? I don't know. Yeah, but I don't think it's going to happen, but it'd be cool if it did. Krista White is latest super chatter. Pretty big one, too, at $10. Thank you very much. Still record is being held by Brondo, who was talking about the butterfly keys. So press F to pay respects to Brondo, being the top super chatter of the evening. Thank you very much. I don't see a comment from Krista, but I appreciate your support. Thank you. James Carta says, I like the 10, but what's the 10 Plus? Upgrade now or wait? Yeah, you're getting to the point where you need to wait. I think we're now into May, so we're 5 months into 2018. Wow, that was fast. So May, come on, Drew, you can remember this. June, July, August, September. So you're like 4 months away from that refresh when the 10 Plus is going to be available. So you're 2/3 of the way through the through the refresh. So I think you should just wait at this point. Keep whatever phone you're using now. You'll make it. And yeah, for people asking, $500 was the biggest super chat we've ever had on this channel. Yes, but we don't need anyone to do that. I don't have a good incentive for you to do that. I'm just using super chat as a tool to read comments because it's like they stand out. It's easier for me to see. Someone super chatted $2, and I'm sorry I don't know how to pronounce your name. Apo says, do you sell any of your Apple products? All of them. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. Basically, anytime I buy an Apple product that's a refresh for this channel that I unbox and review, I try to sell the old one to help cover the price of the new one because I'm not a huge YouTube channel. I mean, I have a lot more than other channels, but still, I'm not like made of money. I try to be a little bit smart about that. So that's why I like, I'm going to sell my iPad Pro when the new iPad Pro comes out because I don't need two iPads. Or like when we got the red 8 Plus, we sold the old gray 8 Plus because it's like, no, we don't need two of these. So yeah, there's just certain things that doesn't make sense to keep two around of. I think we'll keep around the red 8 Plus because it's likely to be limited edition, as in they'll stop selling this when the new iPhones come out, and then it'll be rare. So it's good to collect the rare ones. But yeah, for the most part, when I get a new Apple product, I typically sell the old one unless I have a use for the old one. Like this iMac Pro, one day will be older and probably not be working as well as it is right now. But I'll probably still be able to edit some stuff on it, so I likely won't sell it to afford a new computer. I'll just keep it. Like my iMac from 2012, I still have. Snow super chat. It says, "What do you think about the new LG G7 sound leaks?" Was the LG G7 the one people were saying has like the super loud speaker? Because if so, why do we care about how loud a phone speaker can get? Like, obviously, I think stereo speakers is better than no speaker than one. That's good, but like when you get to the point where it's like, how loud can your phone speaker get? It's like, isn't that like annoying people when it just gets louder and louder and louder? It's just like, oh god, it's like, it's not good audio, it's just loud audio. So why do we want the I don't know, but I mean, LG makes good phones. I'm not trying to diss on LG, but if that's the primary feature, I don't think it's going to sell very well. If that's just the mindset is like, this phone has a loud speaker, you should buy it. It's like, yeah, of course, that's going to work out. That's not like the reason people will buy a new phone, is because my old phone speaker is not loud enough. But yeah, like I think iPhones, Samsung S9 speakers, they're fine, they're good, but you don't need to get louder than that. Because the reports were saying it's like 10 times louder or something, and I was like, that sounds awful. A phone speaker playing 10 times louder than my current one, like, ugh, gross. What happened to the red hydrogen? Yeah, I asked that every day. Marquez tweeted about AirPower, and I said, yeah, it sucks that AirPower is not coming out yet, but at least Apple doesn't charge you for AirPower now. They wait until they can deliver it, unlike the red hydrogen phone, because that's a phone that I think of being like nearly scammy. I mean, I know Red is an official company and stuff, but like it's very close to being a scam when you like ask for, was it like over a year ago now? It's like nearly 2 years ago. They like announced that. Didn't even make a video about it. Don't even show the front of it. Don't even show a working one. They literally showed one picture of it, of the red hydrogen, one photograph. They were like, here's our phone. You can buy it for $1,200 in aluminum or $1,700 in titanium. And it was like, we're going to have this great camera and this great holographic technology that we're not going to show anyone except like 3 people. And then yeah, we're going to show it to 3 people. You don't get to see what the display does, but you get to see the reaction. It's going to have a Snapdragon 835, which is already a dated CPU. That's a 2017 CPU. And somehow that's going to be able to outperform every iPhone that can do 4K at 60, because Snapdragon 835s can't do 4K at 60, given the Snapdragon 845 of this year, that one can only do 4K at 60 for 5 minutes. And yet I thought Red was like the video camera company. They're all about resolutions and they're all about frame rates. How is their 835 going to be able to power a camera that's better than an iPhone like 8 that's $600, half the price? Probably going to have wireless charging. I don't think the red hydrogen will. iPhones do. Hydrogen won't. Like, I would. So Marquez responded to that tweet because he was like, well, at least Red keeps us up to date on it. He's like, they're posting new informations about it in the forums. And I was like, really? I didn't know that. So I looked in the forums, and their latest update in the forum literally had a line in it that really bothered me. He said, the guys working on the phone, they were like, it does everything we expect a cell phone to do. They didn't say smartphone. They literally used the word cell phone. It does everything a cell phone can do. So it's like, okay, it can make phone calls. And then the next thing that really bothered me that I would not want to hear is Marquez invested in 3 of these things. So like at minimum has invested $3,500 into these experimental phones that have yet to come out. We don't know when they're coming out. They have dated tech. They've said in the forums that they're not updating the CPUs from being older tech. Not that the 835 is a bad CPU. I'm not saying that it's a terrible processor. I'm just saying if you're paying $1,200 plus for a phone, it better have the best specs. Like the iPhone 10 is a very expensive phone. I agree, but it has the A11 Bionic chip, which at the time of its release was by far smoking every other phone. 835 still in that red hydrogen. Red hydrogen's not out yet. It's not going to be the fastest, and that's going to definitely prohibit the camera from being able to record certain frame rates and resolutions. And I think Red is kind of the king of 8K and 60 FPS. So like, anyway, he said in the forum something that is not very encouraging. He said, "I don't care if we never sell a single phone." And I was like, I gave you $3,000 and I still have nothing. I don't want to hear, I don't care if we sell any, as in like, I don't care if these never come out. That's not what I want to hear. So it's very close to like, here's a picture, give us all your money, thanks anyway, didn't work out. Like it's getting close to that level of like Patreon backer or like GoFundMe failed campaigns and stuff, which is just not good. We got a super chat from Kayleen937. No comment, but I appreciate the support. As always, Aaron Amador says, experiencing any issues with your MacBook Pro's keyboard? It sounds like the new IntelliGate from Tech Sites. I had a little bit. By the way, I sold my MacBook Pro. I don't have it anymore. So no, I'm not experiencing that now. But for a little while when I first got it, I noticed like the B key was getting a little sticky. But I just pushed on it a little hard and wiggled it around, and then it fixed itself, and then I never had any problems with it. So Some people are having bigger issues with it, though. I completely acknowledge that. I personally wasn't having that big a problem, but I've been reading a lot about them, and I think if Apple issued a recall, it would be very appropriate. Will Hall is the next super chat. It says, can an Apple Watch connect to a car's Bluetooth? I couldn't make it work. Big deal of trying to stream music using cellular and leaving phone at home. I'm not really sure why yours isn't working, but mine definitely does. I do it all the time. In fact, if I go on a drive somewhere, or I'm just driving, I don't know, somewhere else, but I don't have my phone with me, yeah, I can go to the settings app on my Apple Watch, and then under Bluetooth, connect to the Bluetooth FM transmitter I have plugged into my car, because I don't have a newer car. It doesn't have Bluetooth built in. I have to get like the Bluetooth transmitter that turns it into an FM signal, and then you tune into it via the radio. And yeah, I can play music from my watch streaming cellular, no problem. So I'm sorry if it's not working out for you, but you should be able to. There's nothing that prohibits that from happening. Real quick. Okay. So YouTube channel, I apologize. I'm not super well versed. Okay, it's a tech channel. I know basically nothing about this guy. I apologize. So I appreciate the super chat, but I have nothing to say on him because I've never watched a single one of his videos. Sorry. James Weaver says, thicker iPhone to include larger 1 to 2 day battery. Could it happen? I mean, would you like that? I'm sure you would. Maybe a lot of people would, but Apple's not going to do it. They've kind of already done that. You know, since the iPhone 6, the battery lives of iPhones have improved, and they've also gotten a little bit thicker every single time. So Apple's kind of finding the sweet spot. I don't think they find much of a use for an iPhone with a 2-day battery because, you know, like you don't have a 2-day battery. You go to sleep. When you go to sleep, just charge your phone. So I think they're looking at it that way. And if they wanted it to be twice as big and it was a lot thicker, people would likely complain about that, even if the battery was a little bit better. But still, regardless, I would charge my phone when I went to bed anyway. So Krista White says, I can't even come up with a question I haven't seen answered, lol, but I still want to support the network as much as I can. Thank you, Krista. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. By the way, all this money that you guys donate, all the super chats, all the people just watching, you don't have to be donating. You're allowing this channel to be ad-free. You know, like we're not doing sponsorships because I personally am not a fan of them, and I think it kind of destroys the conversation. It destroys the genuine discussion we're having. Not that I would never do it. If money got tight, maybe I'd start doing them just to pay the bills. But the people, because you guys are so supportive and because you guys are so generous, you're allowing us to not have to do that. So if you have YouTube Red, that means when you watch Tailosive, anything, tech, gaming, movie reviews, talks, all those channels, ad-free. Another super chat says, I'm interested on getting a Mac Air. Any for sale? Not from me, but if you are going to get a MacBook Air, don't get it from Apple. Just look on eBay, look on Facebook Yard Sale, look on Craigslist, get it used because you can get identical MacBook Airs to the ones Apple's selling for like half the price. So just don't waste your money on a brand new one. See, if I was sponsored by Apple, I wouldn't be able to say that. I would be like, buy it from Apple at the Apple store. Anyway, David B., our next super chat says, what keyboard would you recommend to go with an iPad Pro 12.9 inch? I'm getting one after the refresh as a laptop replacement, and I'm looking into accessories. Cool. Me and David are on the same boat. My MacBook's gone. I no longer have a MacBook. And I'm going to switch to a 12.9-inch iPad Pro when the new ones come out. Looking forward to Face ID. But really, you know, any Bluetooth keyboard can connect to an iPad. So I don't have a specific one to recommend. I'm sure Logitech makes some good ones. You know, the smart keyboards and stuff are cool because they use the smart connector, but there's so much money. I can't justify $180 for a keyboard unless it's space gray, if you know what I mean. No, this came with the computer. I don't know if I would buy this like separately from Apple because it's $150. But still, that's more than that. Like a smart keyboard from Apple for the iPad. First of all, it only comes in one color. Maybe if the smart keyboard came in different colors, I would consider it, but it's just boring gray and you're stuck with that. And I've even had people comment here that like it doesn't age well. They don't like age very well. They scratch up your iPad and stuff. So yeah, but you could probably find a fairly decent Bluetooth keyboard on Amazon for under $30 that will pair with your iPad no problem. They also make the iPad cases with the keyboard built in, and it's Bluetooth, so it's not. For some reason, if you have the smart connector in your case, it instantly makes it like $150. So, yeah, I hope you find a good one, David, because I'm in the same boat. So if you find one you recommend, I don't know of a specific brand that I would intentionally endorse because I don't have a keyboard for my iPad right now. But yeah, let me know if you find one. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. William super chatted, says, do you think the iPhone SE2 is happening? And are you going to collab with Everything Apple Pro? So in the past, I've talked about this, but Everything Apple Pro is not really interested in collaborating. He didn't say it directly, but my fans made comments about me. They got a lot of likes. He deleted those comments. So I take that as that he's not interested. I'm not mad about that. I'm fine with that. You don't want to force YouTubers to collaborate, right? If there's going to be a collaboration, you want it to be consensual. So don't try to pressure him into anything. I watch all of his videos. I'm a big fan of Everything Movie Reviews, but I can tell he's not that interested in collaborating. And even if he was interested, what would we do? Like, hi, we met. iPhones are cool, aren't they? Yes, they are. Thanks for coming. Okay, video's done. Like, I don't know what we would do as a collaboration, but I do think the SE2 is happening. There's a lot of leaks. There's a lot of rumors to support that it is. There's the most concrete one, though, for anyone wondering, like, I don't think the SE2 is going to happen. The best defense is we have 11 hardware model numbers yet to be released into the public that are going to be running iOS 11, and they haven't come out yet, which means that they're coming out before September because the iPhone's coming out in September, the 10 and the 10 Plus. Those are going to ship with iOS 12. The 11 model numbers is really exciting. It means that there's all these new hardware models that are going to come out, and they're all going to be running iOS 11. They come out before the 10 and 10 Plus. So that means most likely an SE. There's also plenty of reports saying that there is going to be another budget 4-inch iPhone that gets an update. So yeah, I don't think it's 11 different iPads. It's got to be a mixture of phones and iPads, of course. So yeah, I think an SE2 is happening. I'll be surprised if it doesn't. David Adams super chatted, says Apple Pencil 2, Smart Keyboard 2, Apple Pro cases. I don't know what you mean by Pro cases, but if they were to make a Smart Keyboard 2, I would just want more colors. I don't need a added design or something. I don't know, touch bar. I don't know, something weird. But I would like a product red Smart Keyboard or a white Smart Keyboard. Just some more colors there because I don't like that the only one you can get is gray. And the same kind of goes for the second generation Apple Pencil. I just want a dark one or a red one. Just please, more than just the white one. It's dull and boring. And if you buy an Apple Pencil, it's because you're an artist. It's an artist draw in color. So why can't our stylus be in color? I don't know. 8 Plus case recommendation. I'm just a fan of the classic silicone ones. Sorry about Nathan. Yeah, it was an okay departure, but it was ultimately for the best. But yeah, we miss him a lot. For those of you who don't know about the situation with Nathan, go to Tailosive Talks, watch the latest Hello World. I explain everything. Anyway, Aaron super chatted, says, you think we'll have AirPower by WWDC or by the time the next iPhone comes out? Like I said, I'm just going to pretend AirPower is not happening. I'm going to pretend I never heard of it. I'm going to pretend it doesn't exist because there's been no updates on it. I assume there's technical problems that are holding up the release. So while I really, really want it, and as soon as it's available, I'm probably going to buy 2 of them, I am just going to pretend it's not happening. It could come out at the next iPhone keynote. That would suck, but that's a long time, and we'd have to consider that possible at this point. They did say coming 2018. They removed the part of the website where it says early 2018. Now it just says 2018. So that could be December 31st. Who knows? Hopefully as soon as possible. But yeah, I don't know if it's coming at Worldwide Developers Conference. It'd be great if it was. I want it to come out right now, like the second. Let's see. Nobody wants a stylus. Well, there's numbers to disagree with that, but Brian Irwin says thoughts on Apple and right to repair. Oh boy, do we want to go back to this discussion? Right to repair. Well, I think there's a bit more haziness to the to the people regarding the Linus Tech Tip situation, because he used the product in a way it was not intended to be used, and Apple is allowed to like say, if you do certain things to our product, then there can be a point where we can't help you anymore. Um, but yeah, I think for the most part, if the product would have actually broken on accident, Apple may have been more eager to fix it, and the customer support person writing the email just didn't know what they were talking about. But yeah, I mean, not Linus, just the lawsuits and stuff. I mean, I don't have too much thoughts on it other than don't break your stuff. Just treat it well. Like a lot of the time, I don't even have a case on my phone. I take good care of my stuff, so that's why I guess I don't have too much thought put into it. Is because all of these scenarios about right to repair and should you be able to fix this or should you be able to get a replacement or take apart this, is because I don't really do that very much. It's not something on the forefront of my mind because I rarely drop, I rarely break stuff. Everything, I just take very good care of it. So not that that's not important. So I probably should have a better response to that than I do. But I really just encourage people to take good care of their stuff, and these debates wouldn't have to happen. I know accidents happen, but if you expect accidents to happen, just get Apple Care. Like if because that's so much easier than repairs, than taking it in and them telling you it'll be ready in 3 months or 3 weeks or 3 days. Um, it just if you're like accidents happen, I will break my stuff. It's not a matter of if, but when. Pay the extra money, and then when it breaks, Apple will give you a brand new one for free. That's just so much easier. Okay, like that's not me just pretending to be a fanboy, because a lot of people are like, Drew just defends Apple no matter what. Not true. Apple does plenty of things wrong. They're still the best tech company in my eyes, but they still do plenty of things wrong, just like Tesla does plenty of things wrong, even though they're my favorite car company. Um, I just I think that there's a much easier solution to this problem than to go the route of how do I repair it myself. That's just how I go. For someone was saying Samsung is the best. Fixing a Galaxy S9 costs more than fixing an iPhone 10, and that's saying something because the iPhone 10 is way more than an S9, and yet the S9 costs more to fix. I imagine curved displays aren't very good on repair teams, but anyway. Connor super chatted, says, picture this: iPhone 5C with iPhone 7 or 8 specs. Okay, pictured. That'd be interesting. I mean, like the 5C is plastic, so I guess you could have inductive charging, but I guess it was steel reinforced plastic. So if they remove the steel insides and put the Qi charger in there, that'd be kind of interesting. But I mean, yeah. I mean, in regards to Lucas, you're paying for peace of mind. That's why I would say, like, if you expect your tech to break, just get warranties on it. If you don't, then don't, because like I just know that I'm good on my technology. I don't break it. I'm very responsible about it, so I don't get Apple Care. I've never gotten Apple Care actually, and I've still had really great customer support. It's not like if you don't buy Apple Care, then Apple doesn't care about you. Like you still get like an included service stuff, but yeah, that's why I really don't have much thoughts, because if I broke my phone or if I broke my iPad, my immediate response is not like, let me take this to a stand in a mall where they'll fix it. It's usually like, okay, let's go to Apple, see what they have to say about it. So SE is all right for those who like small phones, but 5C is the least innovative phone ever. It was an experiment. It actually was a kind of a waking up moment for Apple, because it was actually the first time the iPhone was trying to be cheaper intentionally, because usually the cheaper iPhones were just the old ones, and that's still kind of what we have to this day. But back when the 5S came out, that was the first time they were like, okay, here's the new flagship phone, with biometrics and the better camera, the gold option. We want everyone to do this. However, I see the super chats. I'll catch up. Sorry. We want everyone to get this. However, we understand that not everyone can afford the 5S. So we're also going to start making a phone that's intentionally cheap. It was the first time they did that. They made a bunch of them because they figured they were going to sell really well. They were only $99 on a 2-year contract. That was super affordable. Everyone was like, oh, great, a cheap iPhone. And 75% of the sales went to the 5S. Everyone bought the more expensive one. And now we're seeing the exact same thing with the iPhone 10 and the 8. So that was a learning moment for Apple because they realized that when people buy Apple products, they want the best one. They don't want the cheap Apple products. They want the expensive ones. So as we found out today with the quarter two earnings Apple released, the iPhone 10, still the most popular iPhone out of all other iPhones being sold. Despite the price point being so high, it doesn't make a difference. But yeah, so we got a super chat from Mashi who says, are you going to do something special when you hit 100,000 subs? I'll do a video on it. Don't really expect a giveaway. I'm just kind of leaving that for Patreon donors. If, by the way, if you support us on Patreon, anything at all, doesn't matter how much it is. If you want to be in the outro of the video, it's $10. If you want to be in the outro of the Talks channel, it's $3. If you just want to be eligible to win a giveaway, it's $1. But I can't really afford to just do big giveaways for the entire channel because I think if I did one for everyone, then they would expect something kind of big. But instead, I just kind of do monthly small ones for the Patreon donors because that's a smaller number of people. Like the next one's going to be Apple Watch bands. We're going to be giving away like certified Apple Watch bands. But so I don't like, a lot of people are like, you're going to give away an iPhone 10 now, right? It's like when I hit 100,000 subs, I don't get a big check in the mail from YouTube. Nothing changes. It's like the audience got bigger, but I mean, I can apply to get a play button, but I'm not going to get a big paycheck. So it's not like suddenly I'll have a bunch more money. I'm still like saving money for new equipment for the office, for my editor, Xander, and for all of the expenses of the business. So it kind of doesn't really make sense for me to just like, oh, we hit 100,000, time to burn $1,000, because that's really what a giveaway is. It's just paying for people to now follow you on social media. Because you notice that when channels do giveaways, they're like, follow me here, follow me here, follow me here, subscribe to this, hit a like button. It's like they don't know. They don't check on you and make sure you're following all that stuff. There's not a way to do that. Your username's different on every account. Like they're just telling you to do that, hoping you'll fall for it. And then it's like, great, I gave away a phone. I give away a phone, and I got 1,000 followers. Yay! I would rather you follow me on Twitter and Instagram because you're interested in the posts, rather than you think you're going to get a free phone. So I'm not as into the giant giveaways yet. We're just doing lots of small ones on Patreon. Matthew K. Super Chat says, when do you think last iPhone port will be removed? Not too soon. I'm ready for it right now, but like probably 2020 or so. It's probably a little bit away. Charlie Michael says, the right to repair issue is that ultimately Apple is moving to a lease-only model for their products. Yeah, I understand. I'm not excited for that future either, for the point where when we get to the point where like the only way to get a phone is to pay for it monthly. But I understand that's where everyone's going. Like that makes more sense to the companies because they have a contract, so they can expect how much money they're getting in every single month. I personally prefer the days where you could just buy idea of a future where it's like, and I pay for this phone on a monthly basis. It's on contract. I pay $30, $40 a month for it. I don't like that, but I understand that's where the world's going. So like, I mean, it's inevitable. I'm not happy about that. But I just know that for the sake of companies' success and their reliability, and these are ultimately their products. You know, we buy into this. They decide the rules for these things. So I understand that's where things are headed. So I'm just trying to get used to it. Newer MacBook Air or regular MacBook for school? Could they be both, Derek? Thank you for super chatting. No, I think Apple for school stuff, they just want iPads to take over. I don't think they want to make like a budget MacBook. And I think the MacBook Air needs to be discontinued. The MacBook Air is the 12-inch MacBook. It's lighter than the Air. They should have renamed that. It's very frustrating that they named it wrong. Yeah, Caleb gets it. He says, that sucks, makes me feel like I'm in debt. Me too. I hate that. It's like, I got to add this to my monthly bill. It's like, I would rather just pay for it up front. But newer MacBook, yeah, I mean, if you're going to get an Air, get a used one. Don't get it from Apple, or get a refurbished one at least. It's a lot cheaper than the 12-inch MacBook. So How much money do you make from Patreon? It's inconsistent. You guys can check for yourself. We don't hide it from you. You can look. I think the number right now is a little over $900, which like starts to pay for rent. Like rent for my office and apartment aren't even covered by Patreon. So I don't build the business off of reliably living off of Patreon. Patreon's just, it helps pay for bills and stuff, and power and Wi-Fi. It keeps the lights on. Yeah, Patreon's not like we live off of that. Like we need Patreon to survive, but it's very helpful. And yeah, like I said, I don't hide it from you guys. You can all check. How much monies will the iPhone 11 cost? Yeah, probably around 1,200. I'll be happy if it's less, but I'll expect it to be 1,200 for the starting. Probably 1,350. Lease is never better than owning a product. Amen. No kidding. What if Apple made a SE and 10 fusion device? What would we call? Oh God, I get the joke. It's not. You're not funny. This joke's been going on for so long, Samuel. Goodness. You guys all have the humor of Elon Musk. If you put SE and then you put the 10 afterwards, it spells a bad word. It's it spells sex, which is funny. I don't know. Is that funny? Was that ever funny? Did anyone ever laugh at that? I guess Elon did. Which is better for YouTube videos, 1440p or 1080 at 60? I mean, it's personal preference. I mean, like I personally prefer being able to have 4K or at 60 FPS, but just because I like 60 frames a second, because like you're not going to notice most people watching your videos. They're watching on their iPads, they're watching on their phone. They're not going to notice the difference between 1080 and 2 or 1440. But they will notice the difference between 30 FPS and 60 FPS. No matter what device you're watching on, the frame rate will be noticeable. Yes, the mobile YouTube app is able to super chat. This isn't that new, but yes, I'm grateful that many of you are just now discovering this. 8+ case recommendations. Get the Apple certified ones. I don't recommend any others, to be honest. The Apple Silicon ones are fine. It's also interesting that when you have an issue with an iPhone versus an Android phone, you can take it to Apple Store, where are the Samsung, Google, etc. stores. Exactly. Like people go to Apple stores all the time just because they're fun. I mean, there are Samsung stores, there are Google stores, but there's just not that many. It's a lot less. This is a Tesla shirt. Yeah, I have a shirt, but not a car. I have a car. It's not a Tesla, but I have a Tesla mug. I have a Tesla shirt. I got a Tesla flag over there. We got lots of Tesla stuff. Trading any of your devices? No, just I'm selling the iPad Pro after I compare it to the new one. So if anyone's interested, let me know. Do you think the iPhone SE2 will be revealed in May or September keynotes? Probably there isn't a May keynote. The Worldwide Developers Conference is in June. There's not going to be a keynote in this month. It'll be 1 month from Star Wars Day, May 4th. How will this year's camera be better than last year's? They'll make up something. I don't know. They'll just be like, these pixels are better. HDR support. One thing I kind of hope they do is what the Pixel 2 did, which is the bokeh effect, using machine learning to make portrait modes on the front and back-facing cameras. Hopefully they can figure that out. That'd be nice. Do you think there will be a $550 iPhone as rumored? Well, if you're not counting the 7, which is about that much. Yeah, it sounds like there's going to be some type of budget iPhone. I'm not exactly sure, excuse me, what the specs are going to be on it, but there's going to be 3 iPhones in September, two premium ones and a budget one. Whether it'll have 3D touch, whether it'll have bezels, whether it'll have Face ID, I don't know. But yeah, like the live focus feature on Instagram, except built in, so it's not all compressed and grainy. Can you tell me what color is that watch band, and what do you think of spicy orange band? Spicy orange is cool, but it doesn't really go with mine. This is the blue Tahoe. I have the, I think a Tahoe blue. The box for it's right up on the shelf here. So yeah, it's a sport loop, so it's Velcro. It's very nice because I wear the heaviest Apple Watch. The stainless steel 42 millimeter one is the heaviest, and the sport loop is a very, very light watch band. So it kind of compensates for the Apple Watch being heavier. You do notice it actually when it moving your arm around. You're like, yeah, this got some weight to it. But like the before people in the comments say, no, ceramic, the edition is heavier. It isn't. Look it up. The stainless steel is the heaviest Apple Watch. I've checked on this. That's how I lift every morning. 24 karat gold one is heavier. There is no 24 karat gold one. There's only 18 karat gold. It's probably heavier, but you can't buy it. So, if everyone starts using solar panels, how long will it take until we run out of sun? 14 billion years, I think. I don't know. Would you choose wireless charger through aluminum, ceramic, or glass, even though aluminum wireless charging doesn't exist? I like glass. No, I like the glass-backed phones. They have a good feel to them. A lot of people say that glass is slippery. I don't see that. Usually, if I'm holding an aluminum phone, I notice that the aluminum is actually a tad more slippery. The glass they use on the iPhones are very grippy, in my opinion. So that's just a personal preference thing. But no, I like the glass. If they did ceramic, I would also be okay with it. I think it would cost a lot more, but I'd be good with that. Lisa Dad says, love your channel. Sport Loop now has a larger size to choose. Oh, cool. That's great. I didn't even realize they got a new one. But yeah, this. Well, it's still sunny there. It's plum dark. I hope Apple can integrate AI for the camera like Google has so they can see who is truly superior. Well, Google likes to get things out there before they're completely ready. Like, did anyone see that tweet Austin Evans made where the Google Lens was looking at a Pixel 2 and it says it was an iPhone? So like it's not that smart. I mean, who needs that though? Who opens the app and it's like, how much is this product? Do people do that? And if so, it's not very good at it. But anyway, we've come to the end of our hour, so it looks like Leisha Dad is the last super chatter of the live stream. So if we're going to do the war now, the new super chat war section of the live stream, now's the time. But currently, as we're wrapping things up and I try to stretch this out as much as possible, Leisha Dad is the last super chatter of the May 1st live stream, May 1st, 2018, which will never happen again. So thank you guys for all your questions. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one. Everyone have a great night. Take care.